Good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream, and I'm going to do the February the 11th Spiritual Principle Day in a meditation. A special shout out to my husband, Jeff. Happy birthday. Thank you for being there for me. We love you so much. Well, I hope you're having a beautiful morning, or at least plan to have one. Having a great day on purpose takes effort sometimes, and I realize that. Let's go ahead and get into the meditation, see what we have. Oh, okay. The title is Strategies for Optimism. Being spiritually awake, we can see the miracles that surround us, even when life is difficult. And that comes from the Living Clean book, chapter 7, Awakenings. Optimism is one of those spiritual principles that, perhaps too simplistically, gets merged with a personality trait. It's true that some of us easily see the positive side of things because that's who we are. But more of us are wired differently. For those of us who aren't born optimists, we can use optimism as a strategy to shift our perspective. It takes effort, sometimes enormous effort, to open our eyes to see life's bounty and beauty during dark times. To me, a member wrote, optimism means that even if I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel, I can keep checking to see if one appears. And the miracle is that it eventually does, even if it's tiny. Because we risk rejection and disappointment by doing so, it takes courage to keep peering into that darkness, Optimism can sometimes be found when we take a moment to look outside of our own woes. When I can't discern the good in my own life, wrote another, I look at someone else's. I see the road they've traveled and their transformation against all odds. Sometimes it takes one breath to shift my perspective. Other times, I need a crowbar. When we look only at ourselves, we're self-obsessed, obsessed with what was taken away from us or what we never had. Let me repeat that. That seems like an awkward sentence. When we look only at ourselves, we're self-obsessed, obsessed with what was taken away from us or what we never had. Some of us find our optimism strategy in the simple benefit of the gratitude list, or it's allowing others to take care of us in our time of need rather than driving them away with our indulgence in, I got this, or poor me. Or it's prayer, an expression of trust in our higher power. Optimism alone can't save us from utter despair or self destruction. We need perseverance, hope, and lots of gratitude. One addict put it like this: the only way to have what I want is to want what I have. I'm relieved I don't have to be an optimist to practice this principle. I will make every effort to see the miracles around me, or at least I can commit to finding strategies that help me to keep looking. Let's take a moment of silence followed by the wee version of Serenity Prayer. A moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference just for today. Please and thank you. So we're talking about the strategy of optimism, the ability to look at negative things in a positive light, the ability to expect positive things to happen, the ability to make the best of a bad situation. For instance, I just did the Just for Today meditation for today. And at the end, I talked about having a beautiful day on purpose takes effort. And that is exactly what this is about. It's talking about being able to use optimism if it's not a natural part of your personality trait. Being able to use optimism in a positive way is a strategy, right? For positivity, as a strategy for living through hard times, living through your situation, living through, the initial stages of the disease of addiction, or living through a death of a loved one. Or there's so many things that we can use optimism for to help us get to the other side. And have you ever heard when people say, do you look at the cup half empty or half full? Well, most people start out with a full cup of anything, right? And they drink it down and then it becomes half empty. Very few people will say, yeah, that coffee is so good, it's half full. No, most people drink their coffee and they'll say, "Ah, it's half empty. I need a warmer. I need to fill that back up with some hot coffee," right? Or whatever it is. I just believe that optimism is developed. There's some people that are, actually, optimistic naturally, but the majority of us are not. It takes effort to be able to look at a situation and see the light at the end of the tunnel. It takes effort because if we're being honest, we deal with life on its own terms, stuff come up, and we're not even most of the time conscientious of how pessimistic we are. Most people don't know how pessimistic another person is right off the bat until they get to know them. You're like, why are you always whining? Why are you always down? Why do you always look like you just lost your best friend? Why do you always project negatively into the future? Don't you know that what you say you have is what you're going to have? And I like this statement, right? Talking about wanting what we already have, right? I like that statement. Is being able to look at whatever situation you have and appreciate it for what it is. Appreciate it for what it is. I learned something many years ago, and I'll let you go with this. I learned something many years ago. A boss of mine was saying, what is for you is for you. Whether or not you actually ever access what's for you depends on your frame of mind, because you need to be able to see the opportunities when they arise. But not only see them, you need to have some preparation so that when you do see them, you can tap into them. That takes effort. That takes the ability to plan, to work towards a goal, and maintain that work that you're doing. And so I just want to speak to that you came into Narcotics Anonymous for a reason, and probably are very pessimistic about all the reasons that brought you here. But hey, we've met, and many of you have made really great friends as a result of being in the program. Let's be optimistic about that. Let's be optimistic about having a cup that's half full. Let's be optimistic. How about this one? Let's be optimistic that we were able to wake up and enjoy another day of life. Because I guarantee you, in the city that I come from, people are dying from overdoses on a regular basis. Parents are waking up to bad news about their children having OD. There's a lot of people. My dad did not wake up today. There's a lot of people that won't wake up today. I don't think I have a right to go into the day full of pessimism. I have the desire to go into the day full of gratitude, being optimistic. Now, not overly. I'm not tripping. I understand that my dad just passed away. I'm not talking about, every conversation I have about him is going to be, oh, so positive. I'm not saying that. But my general attitude about what I'm passing through is that it's going to be used to help someone else. I will use the experience to be of service, right? Even more so than I've already been. And you can do it too. And I want for you to do it because you deserve it. You didn't come this far to just sit and wallow. Let's not wallow in that, right? Pour me a drink. No, no, we're not using. We have our thinking faculties, we have our mind, we have our lives. And so let's go forward into the day intentionally. Practice the principle of optimism as a strategy to help you cope with whatever comes up. It really doesn't. Fill in the blanks. It doesn't matter what it is. Fill in the blanks and say, yes, I acknowledge I'm going through such and such because that's honesty. But also say, but I'm going to use the spiritual principle of optimism to help me cope with this. So anytime you have something that's going on, I want for you to be able to look at it, acknowledge it, and then express your gratitude list about it. I'm so thankful because if I hadn't gone through this would not have happened. And I'm going to show my gratitude by acting optimistically, acting as though I have hope instead of acting as though I'm hopeless. That's what it comes down to in a nutshell. If I could have had that last sentence at the beginning of this would have ended at around 3 minutes, but it didn't. Right? To have hope. Optimism is living on a day-to-day basis with hope in your spirit. My name is Mighty Stream. I've enjoyed talking to you. I hope that you will have a beautiful day on purpose. I most certainly intend to. I'm going to make the best out of this Super Bowl Sunday. I definitely am going to enjoy that. Have a beautiful day.